What is up, my friends? It is Flippin' Bats time. What a great week of baseball we got currently happening. It's September, the last month of the regular season, which is absolutely wild. Hope everybody had a great long weekend, Labor Day weekend. But now we're right in the midst of some really good baseball happening. Today, we're going to talk about Jasson Dominguez and why the New York Yankees didn't call him up. Mind-blowing for me. But we'll talk about that. Kyle Tucker with the Houston Astros has been out for a long time, since June 3rd, and got some interesting news on him over the weekend that we're going to talk about. And, of course, a big conversation. Shohei Ohtani getting close to 50-50, but there is more of an MVP conversation happening right now than I've seen over the last couple of months with Shohei and Francisco Lindor of the New York Mets. So we'll talk about that and who I think should get it, obviously, with Lindor not only playing defense, but a premier defense at a premier position, and Shohei being a DH. We'll talk about that. And then at the end, how some playoff matchups would currently, if the season ended right now, what those matchups look like, who's playing who. And I really don't envision a ton of change there in terms of the seeding and stuff like that. Obviously, a couple different things can happen, but that'll be a fun conversation at the end. First up, Shohei's back to Anaheim. We're recording on Tuesday, out Wednesday, which is different than normal because of the holiday. But first game back is Tuesday night, a couple games there in Anaheim. One really interesting thing I saw, the Angels aren't planning. Currently, as we speak, something could change, especially with backlash, but the Angels are not planning on doing anything for Shohei's return. No tribute, nothing. And we're talking, clearly, easily one of the best players in franchise history. Rookie of the Year there, 2 MVPs there, and returning there for the first time. And they have nothing planned as of right now, which is really ridiculous if you ask me. Shohei was asked about going back there. He said it's a special place to him, always will be. He's spent the most time there in his career playing in front of those fans. And he's excited to get back. So we'll see if that changes. But I want to start today talking about the New York Yankees and their lack of making a decision that I thought was an easy one to make. If you're the New York Yankees, how do you not call up Jasson Dominguez to play for you in September and be eligible to play in October? It makes no sense to me. You can't tell me the guys that you're running out there right now, and look, this is no discredit to Alex Verdugo and Trent Grisham, but to be able to put Jasson Dominguez out there with what he can bring to you in terms of speed and power, and if you're not super familiar with Jasson Dominguez, we're talking a top prospect in the game of baseball. We're talking about a switch hitter that has a lot of power, that has a lot of speed. Obviously got called up in his first big league at bat last year. First big league at bat against my brother, Justin Verlander, hits a homer in his first big league at bat. Winds up doing great for the Yankees in limited time, but unfortunately gets hurt and has to undergo Tommy John. So this year wasn't a full season for him. But in the minor leagues this year, in 52 games, he's hitting .307 with 9 homers. And the Yankees come out and say, yeah, it was a conversation to bring him up, but we just don't see a path to get him ABs every day. And what they're doing is they're prioritizing guys like Alex Verdugo and Trent Grisham over him. And to me, that's unacceptable. Even if he's not playing every day, which he should if he were to come up, but even if he's not playing every day, he should be playing most games for your team. He's a shot of energy. He can do it all on the field. I just can't fathom him not being one of the players called up. If you're saying that you want to make the playoffs, which the Yankees are, and they will, you want to make the playoffs, you want to go on a deep run, you want to win the World Series, you're not calling up a player that gives you the best chance to do that in Jasson Dominguez. And you're going to say you don't see a path for him to get ABs every day. Well, guess what? His minor league season is ending in a couple of weeks. So either way, in a few weeks, he's not going to be getting any at-bats at all. So why not call him up, get the best players possible on the field for the New York Yankees, and get him the experience that would be invaluable in a playoff stretch, in a pennant chase, in a potential World Series chase? I just feel like we lean on that as a crutch of, well, we're not going to get him at bats every day. Well, one, why? Why not? Two, well, let's talk experience that he's going to be able to get when he is playing in the big leagues in September in a pennant chase. Wrong decision for the Yankees to not bring up Jasson Dominguez. He's known as the Martian. Wrong decision to not bring him up. This kid does it all. He's exciting. The fan base loves him. He's a future star, I think. And I just think it would have provided a lot of excitement, similar to what Jazz Chisholm has done for this team. Jazz Chisholm, in his limited time with the Yankees, if you were just to look at that time and then extend it over 162, he's on a 60-60 pace. Like 60 homers and 60-some stolen bases. Jasson Dominguez could be a different shot in the arm for this team and lineup that I think needs it. Wrong decision for the Yankees not calling up Jasson Dominguez. I do not understand it. I think the Yankees will regret it. I don't think their lineup is as deep as it could be running out Verdugo and Grisham. It's not to say you couldn't play those guys if you call up Jasson Dominguez. I just think it makes your lineup way deeper being able to put Jasson Dominguez in there for one of those guys on a nightly basis. Another thing that happened over the weekend, Kyle Tucker, who has been out since June 3rd after fouling a ball off his shin. Fouls the ball off his shin, misses a couple days, misses a couple weeks, misses a couple months with what everyone was told is a shin contusion. Fouled a ball off his shin. Yeah, shin contusion. Bone bruise. Really hurt. A bad one. He's out for a while. Didn't know how long he was going to be out. Fouls the ball off. You thought maybe, okay, maybe he'll be out a week. Maybe he'll be out a few weeks. Next thing you know, he's been out since June 3rd. July, August, September. 3 months. And what came out is that it was announced and then confirmed that he actually fractured a bone in his shin. So it wasn't just a bruise. There was a break. And I just don't quite understand, if you're the Houston Astros, why not just tell the truth? Seriously, I struggle to understand what the reasoning could be. I mean, what if you just come out when you find out and say, hey, you know what? Kyle Tucker's going to miss a few months. We're hoping to get him back by the end of the season. We're hoping to have him back by playoffs. But he did break a bone in his shin and is going to miss some extended time. We thought at first it might be a bone bruise. That is not the case. I mean, we're a month and a half in after this happened, and fans are like, well, we're being lied to. Clearly, this isn't a bone bruise. It left the category of worst bone bruise of all time a couple weeks ago. We're now into territory where we know as a fan base we're just being lied to. I mean, at a certain point, this is what I don't understand. And I said I don't understand why you can't just tell the truth. As a fan base, we're not dumb, right? As a fan of any team, we're not dumb. We understand, just shoot us straight. What's happening here? This isn't a bone bruise. It's not a bone bruise. He's been out for 3 months. What are we doing here? Just shoot us straight. We can take it. Come on. I promise you, we're going to be able to handle it. But no, it was just I don't know, bone bruise. And then you see videos of Kyle running, and clearly he didn't look himself. And then finally, he's on the cusp of coming back, and it's, there was a fracture in there. And then he confirms it, and it's like, what are we doing here? Why couldn't we have just said that the whole time? So it is a bit odd to me, and I do think this announcement would be much worse if the Houston Astros weren't the best team in baseball since Kyle Tucker got injured. In fact, since April 24th. So, abysmal start to the year. But since the end of April, the Astros have been the best team in baseball. Since Kyle Tucker went down, and I don't have the numbers right here in front of me, but when Kyle Tucker went down, the Astros were somewhere between 7 to 10 games out of first place and out of even more out of a wild card spot. Well, in the 3 months that he's been out, they have done quite well. As I continue to say, the Astros are inevitable. We all knew they'd be here. Just kidding. I knew that they would be here. And it's now it's now September, and the Astros have a firm grasp on first place in the AL West, a firm grasp on a playoff spot, a firm path to win the division. If that weren't the case, the Astros would be under extreme fire right now for lying about this. Or maybe lying is not the word. I'm trying to give everybody the benefit of the doubt here. But just trying to pull the shade down over the fan base's eyes and say, nothing to see here, bad bone bruise. I mean, I guess it is a lie. They knew at a certain point that it wasn't a bone bruise and that Kyle Tucker was going to miss a lot of time. And what I'm saying is I just don't understand the not telling the truth about it. That's all. Why not just say it? So Kyle Tucker, but is on the cusp of coming back. He is ramping up his workouts. He's running full speed. I saw a video the other day of him running full speed. There's talks of him being back this week. There's serious talks of him being back before the playoffs. That is going to happen. It's just a matter of when, but it does look like he's getting closer and closer and closer, and the Houston Astros are going to have Kyle Tucker back. But a big part of this question is, in my opinion, when Kyle Tucker comes back, you need him in right field. Your gut says, all right, let's get him back, DH him a bit, ease him into things. But you got Alex Bregman dealing with an elbow thing over at third base. You have Yordan Alvarez, who you'd rather be the DH if you could pick. I know Yordan can play outfield and hasn't done too shabby out there. But if you could have your druthers, you would rather Yordan Alvarez DH. And you would rather be able to give Alex Bregman time if that's what his elbow needs. So really, when Kyle Tucker comes back, you need him to be the everyday right fielder. So we'll see if that's going to be the case. But the Astros are sitting pretty in the AL West with a big lead, now up to like 6 games entering Tuesday, and do have the benefit of being able to deal with things how they want to, and maybe DH guys and give them a day here or there. But on the other side of the league, the National League, you got Shohei Ohtani, the MVP front runner, getting closer and closer and closer to 50-50. We're going to talk about that and a bit more of an interesting MVP discussion right now. But it was a couple of months ago that I said Shohei Ohtani, I think, is going to become the 6th player of all time to go 40-40. And I said at that time, there's a real chance. I think he might even go 50-50 and be the first player ever to do it. He's by far the fastest player to 40-40 in a season. And now here we are, beginning of September, with close to about 25 games left, and Shohei Ohtani is sitting at 44 homers and 46 stolen bases. He's the second highest stolen bases in a season now for a Japanese-born player, behind only Ichiro in 2001. He just passed Ichiro at 45 in 2006 to become second all-time for a Japanese-born player in stolen bases in a single season. So what's he on pace for now? He's on pace for 51 homers and 54 stolen bases. So Shohei is now on pace. And I would argue that pace is over a full season. His totals have really ramped up of late, especially stolen base-wise. It's remarkable. But he's on pace to become the first player ever to go 50-50. And at that point, let's have the MVP discussion. The discussion becomes, well, okay, you have Shohei doing this as only a DH. You have Francisco Lindor doing what he's doing in the NL East for the Mets, with playing that premium position at a premium defense and shortstop. He's playing an elite shortstop, which does mean something. What does it mean? Does it mean enough? Well, let's talk about that. And look, I'm not discrediting when a player is playing defense. I think a player should. I'm not discrediting that a player shouldn't have an advantage over a DH. They should. There should be an edge. But offensively, this isn't close. What's the conversation? Give it to me. Pitch it to me. This isn't even close offensively. And if it was, I would say, you know what? Advantage Lindor. This is close enough that Francisco Lindor, playing an elite shortstop, should be the MVP. But as of right now, Shohei Ohtani has an OPS 160 points higher. He has a WRC plus 35 points higher. Francisco Lindor isn't even in the top 15 in WRC plus. And of every single major offensive category, hits, homers, RBIs, stolen bases, batting average, on-base percentage, slugging percentage, OPS, OPS plus, Shohei Ohtani leads in every single one of those. And none of them are even particularly close besides the hits category. Shohei has, I believe, 5 or 6 more hits than Lindor. In every other category, it's not even close. So I can't sit here and fathom how there's a conversation of who's the MVP. Shohei Ohtani is on pace to become the first player in the history of baseball to go 50-50. 50 home runs and 50 stolen bases. And spare me the conversation that it's easier to steal bases right now. That is absolutely true. But I don't care. It is harder to hit home runs right now than it ever has been. So, yeah, true. Easier to steal bases. Harder to hit homers. And again, spare me the conversation of, well, if you look at the home run rate, is it really harder to hit homers? Every single person that is saying that has never played baseball in your life. I promise you, as a hitter, it is harder to hit a homer right now than it was a decade ago, than it was 2 decades ago, than it was a century ago. Pitchers are throwing 100 to 104 miles an hour right now. I take that back. Pitchers are throwing 105 miles an hour these days. It is absolutely harder to hit home runs. They're spinning the crap out of sliders. Their spin rate is through the roof. We've never seen spin rates this high. So hitters have had to adjust. And sure, at a certain point, we're sure, maybe if you look back a decade ago, the home run rate isn't all that different, but I promise you it's harder to hit homers right now. And I promise you it's harder to hit 50. So if Shohei Ohtani goes 50-50, spare me the conversation that he's not the NL MVP, and I will raise you the conversation that he has had the best offensive season of anyone in baseball right now, and that includes Aaron Judge. 50-50. Give me that season over 63-plus home runs. And Aaron Judge is no longer on pace to break his record from a couple of years ago. Over the last week or so, he's hitting under 200 with no homers. That pace has slowed. So I don't think Aaron Judge is going to get to 63-plus. But even if he hit 63 homers and hit 330 with a 1,200 OPS, give me Shohei Ohtani's season of 50 homers and 50 stolen bases while having a 1,000 OPS and a high batting average. Not in the same category, but give me that season offensively. Every day of the week. Shohei Ohtani is the NL MVP, unanimous NL MVP, and he's having the best offensive season of anyone in baseball this year. And that's coming in September. It's early September. Who knows what's going to happen down the stretch, but there's not all that much time left in the season. So, just came out, but MLB on Fox posted a graphic of the current playoff seeding and how it would, the matchups right now and how that would look. And I started diving into it and thought, you know what? There's probably not going to be a ton of change here. Let's go through these matchups. And again, the one thing I will add, I think the 6 teams in the AL are set. That's my opinion. It could change. We'll see. But I can't say the same in the NL. The Mets, as we're speaking, as I'm recording, are a half game behind the Braves, and the Cubbies have been on an absolute tear lately. But we're 1 month out. Let's talk some of these matchups that we might be getting. And the 4 byes are currently going to the Yankees and Guardians in the AL, and the Dodgers and Phillies in the NL. So the AL looks like Yankees with the 1 seed, Guardians with the 2, Astros with the 3 playing against the Twins. So first round matchup looking like Twins against the Astros and Royals at the Orioles. A couple exciting matchups there. I'd be real excited for Royals at Orioles. I think the Twins have a lot to prove in the playoffs, and beating the Astros can go a long way to proving a lot. But it is time for the Twins with this team and this roster to prove that they can win in October. But you have to run up against the Astros in Houston for that first round. And remember, those are the best of 3 series. So we'll see how that works out. But Twins at Astros, Royals at Orioles. On the NL side, Dodgers and Phillies get that bye. And then a couple interesting series here. First up would be the 3-seed Brewers against the 6-seed Braves. So Braves at Brewers in Milwaukee. This series is interesting to me because if you're the Brewers, who right now have a top record in the game of baseball, nobody's been hotter than the Brewers over the last few weeks. And what you might have to face is a Braves team that, say what you will about this season and how it's been a bit underwhelming, but you're not just underwhelming, a lot of injuries, but you don't want to face this team. You're going to have to face some form or fashion of Chris Sale, Reynaldo Lopez, Max Fried. Schwellenbach has been really good for them. Charlie Morton, who's good in the playoffs. I mean, you don't want to face the Atlanta Braves. And now what the Braves have going for them, which I think is interesting, is it's basically the opposite of what they've had the last couple of years, right? Where they run away with the division, they end up with a bye, and then they run into the Phillies, who are hot and same division rivalry in the playoffs, and then they lose to the Phillies a couple years running. Well, now the Phillies are going to have that bye, and now the Braves are going to be the team fighting for their life to get in. If they get in. The Braves are fighting for their lives. And now you go to play the Brewers in the first round. And look, the Brewers are a great baseball team and have been playing great. But if I'm the Atlanta Braves heading into that series and you start reading off some of the starting pitchers you're going to have to face in those few games, I'm not exactly shaking in my boots. I'm thinking, you know what? We have to go to Milwaukee. Don't love that. They're a good offense. They've been playing good baseball, but I like this matchup for us. I do. So then this could be the reverse of, okay, Braves against Phillies in the NLDS for a couple years running, and Braves end up getting out, getting blown out in a few games. Well, now this is going to be the reverse. So we'll see what happens. That's exciting for me on the NL. And the other side of it is Padres and D-backs. We're getting an NL West battle that would lead to another NL West battle. If I'm either of these 3 teams, Dodgers, Padres, D-backs, I'm not exactly thrilled about the playoff matchups. All of them know everybody so well, and if you fight for your life to get into the playoffs, you're immediately in an interdivision battle if you're the D-backs or Padres, and whoever wins that immediately goes to a 5-game series with the Los Angeles Dodgers. So just an incredible year for a few teams in the NL West that are all just going to have to duke it out in the wild card round or the NLDS in the playoffs in the first round. So chaos is coming for the playoffs. Mets and Cubs are coming for the NL wild card spot. You got I don't know. I really don't see on the AL side of things too many other teams making it than the 6 we currently got out there in terms of Yankees, Guardians, Twins, Astros, Royals, Orioles. I don't see the Red Sox making a run. I don't see the Mariners getting in over the Astros. So we'll see if anybody can make a difference there. But I'm not counting on them right now. But great week of baseball coming up. Again, if you're not, Shohei's going to do something cool in Anaheim. He is. I would imagine. Next time we talk, Shohei will have hit a home run back in Anaheim. I don't know what the reaction's going to be. I think there's going to be some boos. I think there's going to be mostly cheers and some boos. The reaction of Angels fans aren't happy, and rightfully so. But I feel like anybody that's not happy that Shohei left is indirectly placing the blame on Shohei instead of looking at Artie Moreno and saying, hey, you know what? We didn't even offer Shohei Ohtani a contract. He was asked about that. He was asked about it when he was going back. He said, well, if the Angels had matched your $700 million contract? Would you have gone back there? And he essentially said, well, they didn't offer me a contract at all, so there's no point in talking about this. So why would Angels fans be mad at Shohei when all he did for your team was pour his literal blood, sweat, and tears into the organization to win a Rookie of the Year, 2 MVPs, and the organization couldn't do enough around him and Trout to get into the playoffs? So I hope it's a massive standing ovation there in Anaheim for Shohei. I really do hope that, but we shall see. Couple games in that, what do they call that series? The Highway Series? What's the series with the Angels and Dodgers? Highway Series? I don't know highways out here. I give up. Let's give up. We're done. Jasson Dominguez should be on the Yankees. Kyle Tucker. Why didn't the Astros just tell us about the shin fracture? And Shohei Ohtani, the clear MVP. And it's an argument who's having a better offensive season between him and Judge. But give me Shohei there. Fun episode, fun week ahead in baseball. We're a couple weeks away. Few weeks away from October. About 25-ish games left for teams. So we'll see what happens down the stretch. But I could not be more excited. If you didn't listen to Saturday with Smoltz this past weekend, go listen. I asked him the same question between Shohei and Judge, who's having the better offensive season, and also asked him, Aaron Judge is the best offensive player you've seen since who? He's the best hitter since who? And I thought his answer was interesting. It is a guy that I brought up in my conversations, but my answer has continually been Barry Bonds. That was not John Smoltz's answer, but also asked him a couple questions. 3 questions every Saturday with John Smoltz. Go listen to it if you haven't, and that will be the next episode as well. Saturday with Smoltz coming up this Saturday. Great week ahead. Make sure you guys are all subscribed wherever you listen to your podcast, Apple, Spotify, wherever. Please hit that subscribe, follow button. Leave a 5-star review if you want. It all really, really helps. And you can watch every episode as well on YouTube. Our Flippin' Bats Pod YouTube, every episode comes out there. So thank you for all that watch on YouTube. We're on all social media as well at Flippin' Bats Pod everywhere. But that does it for this episode. Hope everybody had a great long weekend. Great week of baseball ahead. We'll be back soon to talk more baseball because that's what we do here on Flippin' Bats. Love you guys. Love this community. Y'all are the absolute best. And until next time, my friends, which is Saturday with Smoltz, remember, find your bat and flip it. Peace.